Welcome back to Man of Substance. Today we're breaking down one of the most frustrating and controversial truths about women and attraction. Why they always seem to chase the men who don't value them. You've probably seen it before. The guy who puts in no effort, barely acknowledges her, and doesn't treat her like a queen? That's the man she's obsessing over. Meanwhile, the guy who gives her everything, attention, effort, commitment, is the one she ignores or even disrespects. It sounds backward, right? But here's the truth. Women are wired to chase what feels scarce. The moment a man puts a woman on a pedestal, she loses interest. And the moment he seems out of reach, suddenly, she's desperate to prove herself to him. It's not about playing games, it's about psychology. This video is not about telling you to mistreat women or ignore them for the sake of it. No, that's not the point. The real lesson here is that value is perceived, not just given. The man who values himself above all else naturally becomes the one she wants. Because deep down, every woman wants a man who doesn't make her the center of his world. So today, I'm going to break down exactly why women chase men who don't value them, and how you can use this knowledge to stop being the one left unread. If you've ever wondered why the guy who barely texts back has women fighting for his attention, while you, the nice guy, get overlooked, then stay tuned. Because by the end of this, you'll see attraction in a completely different way. 1. Women desire what feels exclusive. Women aren't wired to chase what's easy to get. They're drawn to what feels rare, what stands out, and what not every man can access. If a woman knows that every guy is throwing themselves at her, she's not impressed. She expects that. But the moment she encounters a man who isn't immediately captivated by her looks, who doesn't treat her like a goddess just because she exists, something changes. Suddenly, she's intrigued. Exclusivity creates desire. It's the same reason why luxury brands never go on sale. The harder something is to obtain, the more valuable it seems. And women think the same way about men. If you're always available, always eager, and constantly validating her, she assumes you're just like every other guy. But if you carry yourself like someone who's selective, someone who doesn't give his time and attention easily, she sees you differently. Now, this doesn't mean you should act rude or ignore women completely. It means you should recognize your own value. Men who know their worth don't feel the need to chase after every attractive woman they meet. They're not desperate for attention because they have options. And ironically, that's exactly what makes women want them more. Ever notice how a guy who's always around, always texting, and always available gets treated like an afterthought? But the guy who's busy, focused, and slightly harder to reach becomes the one she can't stop thinking about? That's not luck. That's psychology. Think about a man who's always surrounded by women, but never seems overly interested in any of them. He's not rude, he's just in his own world. Other guys are buying her drinks, showering her with compliments, and begging for her number. But he's relaxed, unfazed, and that's the man she'll try to impress. This is why exclusivity matters. If a woman feels like you're just another fan in the crowd, she won't value you. But if she senses that you're a man who only entertains women who meet your standards, she'll start working for your attention. And once she starts working for it, she'll never take it for granted. 2. The more you give, the less she wants. Men are taught that giving more will make a woman appreciate them. More time, more attention, more gifts, more effort. But in reality, the opposite happens. When you overinvest, she starts losing interest. Not because she's ungrateful, but because too much availability kills attraction. Women don't value what comes too easily. If a man constantly showers a woman with affection and effort before she's even earned it, she starts seeing him as desperate rather than desirable. She might appreciate the attention at first, but soon she'll start pulling away. Why? Because effort that isn't earned is never respected. It's human nature. If someone hands you a prize without competition, it feels cheap. But if you have to fight for it, its value increases. Women feel the same way about men. The guy who gives endlessly without making her work for it comes across as replaceable. But the one who makes her prove herself before rewarding her attention, That's the man she respects. Let's say a man starts dating a woman and immediately treats her like a queen. He buys her expensive gifts, cancels plans for her, and constantly texts to check in. She hasn't done anything to earn this treatment. He's just giving it because he wants her to like him. At first, she might enjoy the attention, but soon, she starts feeling smothered. Instead of appreciating his effort, she pulls back. The guy thinks he needs to do more to win her over, so he doubles down, becoming even more available. But the more he gives, the less she values him. Now, contrast that with a man who moves differently. He's kind and respectful, but he doesn't overextend himself. He invests in her gradually, based on how she treats him. She doesn't get unlimited attention, she has to earn it. Because of this, she sees him as a challenge. She starts wondering what she can do to impress him. Men need to understand, women don't fall for the man who gives the most. They fall for the man whose effort feels valuable. And if you give too much, too soon, without making her work for it, she'll only start looking elsewhere. 3. The chase activates her instincts. Women don't appreciate what's handed to them. They appreciate what they have to work for. The moment something becomes too easy, it loses its appeal. This is why women seem to chase the men who aren't chasing them. It's not because they enjoy the struggle itself, but because the process of winning someone over creates excitement. Men often make the mistake of thinking that being straightforward and giving a woman everything right away will make her interested. In reality, it kills the spark before it even starts. When there's no challenge, there's no emotional investment. And when there's no emotional investment, there's no attraction. Think about this. When something is predictable, it becomes boring. A man who is always available, always texting first, and always eager to please becomes too predictable. She knows exactly how he feels, and there's no sense of mystery. But when a man doesn't reveal everything at once, when he keeps his own life moving without making her the center of it, she starts to wonder about him. That wondering turns into curiosity, and that curiosity turns into attraction. This isn't about playing games or intentionally making a woman feel insecure. It's about understanding that excitement comes from the unknown. When she doesn't know exactly where she stands with a man, she naturally becomes more focused on him. She starts analyzing his actions, thinking about him when he's not around, and trying to figure out how to win him over. That process builds emotional attachment. But when a man removes the challenge by making himself too accessible, she doesn't have to think about him. He's just there, always waiting, always available. And anything that's always available loses its value. Attraction isn't just about looks or status. It's about how a woman feels when she's around you. If she feels like she's constantly chasing your attention, if she feels like she's the one trying to impress you, she becomes hooked. But if she knows you'll always be there, no matter what she does, she stops putting in effort. And when she stops putting in effort, she stops feeling desire. Women need the chase because it keeps them emotionally engaged. If a man can't provide that, he becomes forgettable. And in relationships, the moment a woman stops feeling the thrill of earning your attention is the moment she starts looking elsewhere. 4. Nice guys create boredom, not attraction. Being nice isn't a strategy, it's the bare minimum. Too many men think that if they're kind, respectful, and always available, a woman will appreciate them and choose them over everyone else. But in reality, that's not how attraction works. Women don't chase men who treat them too well without first earning it. They chase the men who spark excitement, challenge them, and make them feel something deeper than just comfort. Here's the hard truth. Women get bored when a man is too nice. It's not because they want to be treated badly, but because pure niceness without anything else is predictable, and predictability kills attraction. When a man is always agreeable, never pushes back, and constantly puts a woman's needs above his own, she doesn't see him as strong, she sees him as safe, and safe rarely excites anyone. You've probably seen it happen before. The guy is always there, always complimenting her, always doing whatever it takes to make her happy. And what does she do? She keeps him around, but she doesn't want him. Instead, She's focused on the guy who isn't constantly at her feet, the one who keeps her guessing. That's the man who holds her attention because he provides an emotional roller coaster, not a predictable routine. The reason women don't chase nice guys is simple. They don't have to. When a man makes himself too easy to get, there's no challenge, no excitement, no thrill of the unknown. She knows exactly how he feels. She knows he'll always be there. And she knows she doesn't have to do anything to keep his attention. Without that emotional investment, she loses interest. This doesn't mean you should be rude or disrespectful. It means you should be a man first, not just a provider of compliments and affection. Women respect men who have their own standards, their own priorities, and their own sense of self-worth. When a man values himself enough to set boundaries and demand the same level of effort he gives, that's when a woman starts to see him differently. The problem with nice guys isn't that they're kind. It's that they expect kindness alone to be enough. But attraction isn't about what you do for her, it's about how she feels when she's around you. And if all she feels is comfort without excitement, she'll never chase you. She'll just keep you around until someone more intriguing comes along. 5. Men who don't prioritize. Her become the prize. Women don't chase men who make them the center of their world. They chase the men who have a life so fulfilling, so purpose-driven, that they don't need a woman to complete them. A man who places his mission, his goals, and his own self-respect above chasing a woman becomes the kind of man she wants to chase. Think about it. What happens when a man prioritizes a woman above everything else? He cancels plans for her, drops his interests to make time for her, and constantly checks in to see if she needs anything. At first, she might appreciate it, but over time, she starts to feel smothered. He's too available, too willing, and too eager to please. And that's when she starts to lose interest. On the other hand, when a man doesn't make a woman his priority right away, something different happens. He remains focused on his passions, his career, and his purpose. He doesn't drop everything for her because he has things to do. This isn't about ignoring her or being cold. It's about showing that his world doesn't revolve around her. That level of self-respect makes a woman value him more. Now, let's put this into perspective. Imagine two men dating the same woman. The first man is always available, texting her constantly, offering to do anything she wants, and adjusting his life around her schedule. The second man is different. He likes her, but he's busy. He doesn't always reply right away because he's in the gym, working on his business, or handling his responsibilities. He doesn't chase. He lets her come to him. Who does she find more attractive? The first guy who gives her everything with no effort on her part? Or the second guy who is selective with his time, making her earn his attention? It's always the second, because his time means something. It's not handed out freely. It has to be deserved. Men who don't prioritize women don't do so out of arrogance. They do it because they understand their own worth. They know that a woman who truly wants them will find a way to fit into their world, not the other way around. And when a man has that level of confidence, he doesn't have to chase. Women naturally chase him. 6. Scarcity creates obsession. Men need to understand a simple truth. The more available you are, the less valuable you become. Women are wired to want what feels rare, what feels exclusive. If you're always there, always responding instantly, always ready to drop everything for her, she doesn't see that as attractive. She sees it as ordinary, and ordinary never excites anyone. Think about luxury brands. What makes them desirable? It's not just the quality, it's the scarcity. The fact that not everyone can have it makes people want it even more. The same logic applies to attraction. Women don't obsess over men they can get at any time. They obsess over the ones who make themselves hard to access. Here's the problem. Most men do the exact opposite. They flood a woman with attention, thinking it'll make her like them more. They text all day, always say yes to plans, and put her above everything else in their life. And at first, she might appreciate it. But over time, it loses its effect. She starts feeling too secure, too certain that she has him no matter what. And the moment a woman knows she has you completely, she stops valuing you. Now let's flip the script. Imagine a man who isn't always around. He's busy with his own life, his own goals, and his own ambitions. He doesn't reply right away. He doesn't need to see her constantly. When he does give attention, it's intentional, not excessive. Suddenly, she starts craving that attention. She starts checking her phone, wondering what he's doing, thinking about ways to get more of his time. That's when obsession kicks in. This isn't about playing mind games. It's about holding your value. If you make yourself scarce, your attention becomes a reward, something she has to earn. And the harder something is to get, the more valuable it becomes. But if you give it freely, without her putting in any effort, she will always take it for granted. Men need to wake up. If you're constantly giving, constantly chasing, constantly available, you're killing her desire. Pull back. Make her feel the lack of you. Because the less you give, the more she wants. And that's how you make her chase you. 7. Being unpredictable. Triggers. Her emotions. If a woman can figure you out too easily, she won't stay interested for long. Women are emotional by nature, and what keeps them hooked is uncertainty. If a man is too predictable, always saying the same things, always texting at the same time, always agreeing with her, she starts to lose interest. Not because she wants drama, but because she needs emotional stimulation to stay engaged. Look at the men women are drawn to. They're the ones who keep them guessing. One day, he's playful and teasing. The next day, he's a bit reserved. He's not chaotic. He's just not easy to read. And that creates an emotional response in her. She starts thinking about him more, analyzing his actions, wondering what he's up to. That emotional investment is what makes a woman chase. Now compare that to the guy who is too easy to read. He sends good morning texts every single day without fail. He always agrees with her opinions. He follows the same routine week after week. At first, she might appreciate it, but soon, it starts to feel boring. She knows exactly what he'll do next, and there's no mystery left. That's when she pulls away, because the excitement is gone. The mistake a lot of men make is thinking that consistency means sameness. Yes, you should be stable and reliable, but that doesn't mean you should be predictable. Women don't fantasize about the guy who texts back instantly every time. They fantasize about the guy who sometimes keeps them waiting, who surprises them, who isn't afraid to be a little mysterious. A woman doesn't chase a man she fully understands. She chases the one who makes her feel something different each time. If she knows you'll always be available, always say yes, always text first, she won't appreciate it. But if she never quite knows what you're going to do next, without it feeling like a game, she stays intrigued. So, if you're the guy who's too predictable, mix things up. Sometimes be available, sometimes don't be. Sometimes be warm and playful. Sometimes be serious and focused. Keep her emotionally engaged, not by playing games, but by being a real man. A man with layers, depth, and a life so full that she wants to keep figuring you out. So bite. Men who overcommit get taken for granted. A hard truth that many men don't realize is this: the more effort you give without receiving anything in return, the less she respects you. A man who overcommits, who constantly tries to prove his worth to a woman, ends up being seen as disposable. Not because he's a bad guy, but because he's too easy to get. And anything that's too easy to get is never truly valued. A lot of men think they have to work for a woman's affection, that if they just show her enough love, attention, and effort, she'll finally see how great he is. So they text first every time, they rearrange their schedule to fit hers, they tolerate disrespect just to keep her around. But instead of making her appreciate him, it does the opposite. It kills her attraction. Why? Because women aren't wired to respect men who chase them too hard. They respect men who value themselves first. The moment a man starts putting her above everything, his time, his goals, his standards, she realizes he's too available. And availability without effort on her part makes her lose interest. Look at how women behave around men they truly desire. They put in effort. They try to impress. They make sure they look good. They reach out first. They chase. That only happens when a woman feels like she could lose a man at any moment. But when a man overcommits, he removes that feeling completely. She knows he's not going anywhere, and that's when she starts taking him for granted. Men need to stop thinking that more is always better. More effort, more attention, more commitment. When it's not balanced, it just looks desperate. A high-value man doesn't need to prove himself to a woman. He sets his standards, and if she doesn't meet them, he walks away. That's what makes her respect him. That's what keeps her interested. Think about it. How do women act when a man doesn't overcommit? She's on edge. She checks her phone more. She wonders what he's doing. She wants his attention because it's not guaranteed. She works for it, and that makes it meaningful. But when a man is always there, always saying yes, always proving himself, she knows she doesn't have to try. She stops valuing his effort, not because she's ungrateful, but because he made it too easy for her. So, if you find yourself doing too much, stop, pull back, let her feel your absence. Because the moment you stop overcommitting and start valuing yourself more, that's when she really starts to see you differently. Men need to wake up. Women don't actually want the man who gives them everything. They want the man they're afraid of losing. That's the harsh truth. The more you give without her working for it, the less she values you. The moment you become too predictable, too available, too eager to please, is the moment she stops seeing you as a challenge. A woman doesn't respect the guy who overcommits, who prioritizes her over himself, who throws away his own value just to keep her happy. She respects the man who values himself first, because that's the man she can never fully control. And deep down, that's the man she wants. Now, here's something to think about. If she doesn't fear losing you, does she really even want you? Sit with that for a moment. If she knows you'll always be there, no matter what she does, how can she ever truly desire you? Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Have you ever experienced this? Have you ever felt like the more you gave, the less she wanted you? I want to hear your stories, and I'll be reading through the comments, responding to as many as I can. This is not about playing games. It's about understanding the truth. And once you get this, you'll never chase again. Instead, she'll be the one chasing you.